Hi everyone, it's nearing about time for us to get started. My name is Oleana Grodd and I am a business development executive at IDC Worldsource Insurance. And I have the privilege today of hosting our webinar with Canada Life. We have Jonathan Dunne joining us. He is the Regional Sales Manager for Atlantic Canada, and he's been in the industry with Canada Life actually for 20 years now. So welcome, Jonathan, and thank you to all of you for joining us for this next hour. We do have a CE accredited presentation. The presentation today is covering off the affluent market. So Jonathan will be detailing the high net worth insurance offering at Canada Life and how they can help elevate your client experience.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. As Oleana mentioned, my name is Jonathan Dunne. I am the Regional Sales Manager for Canada Life in Atlantic Canada. We're excited to be here with you today. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about supporting your large case business and helping you get the support that you need. And I'm also very excited in the fact that we have a new or advanced program that's being launched today. So you will be some of the first in the country learning more about our new program. So having said that, I'm going to talk a little bit about Canada Life Elevate, which is the process that we now have to take your large case business to the next level. I'm also going to position a large case opportunity through some of our head office resources and the resources that we have available to help you place and position large case opportunities within your client base of clients. Before I get into that, I think it's important maybe to take a quick look back at 2022 to see where we stacked up as far as the Canada Life large case market goes. And I think it's very relevant to make sure that all of you on the line are aware that nobody can match, based on the production levels that we're showing you today, the numbers in the industry as far as the large case volumes that Canada Life is placing throughout last year and certainly moving into 2023. So just to give you a little visual as to some of the numbers that were placed last year, you'll see a little over 3,600 cases were placed last year, exceeding counting premiums of $10,000 or over. What's really notable, though, I find, is that cases of $100,000 premium or more were over 600 cases across the country. So pretty significant numbers. And as you can see there, 42 of those cases were over $1 million. And in addition to that, 3 of those were over $5 million. So I think this gives you a pretty good idea that, we do have a lot of expertise in the large case market, and we do have a lot of experience. So as one of our very valued clients within IDC, we certainly would love to grow this market within IDC. And I think we do have the resources to help you with that. So as I mentioned, this is a new process or program that we're launching today within Canada Life. You will see distribution emails coming out to show you what we can offer in the large case market and how we can help you and your clients grow in the large case market. What's really important that I think maybe a differentiating fact of Canada Life Elevate over maybe the Manulife Elite program or even the Sun Life Strategic Partner program is that with the Canada Life Elite program is that you don't have to qualify to get into the large case market or the large case resources that are available within Canada Life. All you need to qualify within the Elevate program would be to be an application that would meet the large case criteria, which I'll go through now in a moment. Whereas, with some of the other carriers out there, it's based on previous year's production. So, while that may be fine for individuals that are already in the large case market, if you're new or if you have a new opportunity and you don't have access to those resources, you will within Canada Life. So that's kind of a neat, unique feature that I think would be relevant to many of you that if you're not already in the large case market or you're working on a large case, hopefully that you will consider us because after this presentation, I think you'll be confident that we do have the capability to help you with that case. So if we look at some of the resources that we do have available to you, it's all about you, the advisor. So, you're in the middle of this wheel here, and we do have a wide variety of resources available to you. Canada Life has spent a lot of money making sure that you have adequate resources in the field to make sure that you have everything you need to package and put together a large case to send to Canada Life. if we look at some of just the national support that is available within for you and your clients in the large case market, if we look at the top left under the VP of Large Case Services. So Ryan Marcy would be our vice president on the PAR of the large case business. He came from one of our fund companies, and he's the CFA. He managed a $2 billion equity fund. He's got extensive experience. He also managed $900 million of the PAR fund while he was at this fund manager. So he does have a lot of expertise. And he's now come to Canada Life a couple of years ago. And his role is to work with advisors and clients to make sure that they have a very strong and stable understanding of the PAR fund, the investments within the PAR fund, and how they may be differentiating from some of our competitors. So that's a really neat feature that if any of you are on the call and maybe you want to get more information or you want more detailed information within the PAR fund of how we may be different or what are we doing different over the last few years, Ryan Marcy is certainly a guy that would be able to help with that. And all you have to do is reach out to your regional sales manager, so my colleagues across the country, we can sort of put that together for you. Another area that I think would be important for you is our actuarial marketing services. So this is a group of actuaries that we do have on staff. You will have some scenarios that maybe you have an illustration or an in-force quote where maybe there's some confusion or you need some clarity on a particular situation within a quote or an in-force contract. We do have actuaries on staff that will do a Teams call with you, with your client, with the RSM. So that is really an important feature that we do have available for you as well. Another feature that I think is kind of new to Canada Life and I think unique in the industry is our financial underwriting team. So this is a group that we have on staff. So they're largely solely accountants with a wide variety of backgrounds, whether they come from CRA or from some of our reinsurance partners. But they work with our large case underwriters, in addition to colleagues like myself across the country and advisors. So I had a case as an example this week with an IDC advisor. We had a very large case that was in underwriting. As you know, financial underwriting can be a little bit more tedious, and we have to make sure that we justify the financial amounts to our reinsurance partners if the case is sizable enough. So in this particular example, we had our CA from head office on a Teams call, in addition to the underwriter, myself, and the IDC advisor. And we were able to discuss a case where this was a relatively new business owner. He was growing at a torrid pace. So it was a little bit different that we didn't really have 5 years or we didn't have a long history, but he was growing at a really fast clip. So we were able to have a chance to discuss with our CA and staff at head office. They were able to outline what we needed to maybe justify the amount of insurance. They went back to our reinsurance partners who not only were able to confirm that the amount we applied for was adequate, but they were also able to offer us a key person amount should the client and the advisor want that. So it's kind of a neat feature and also a very important feature of helping you and your clients move some of the financial underwriting forward on some of these larger cases. We moved a little bit lower in the tax and estate planning group in our group there. These would be head office personnel that would be tax lawyers or accountants. They sort of help with creating podcasts, updates on some of our budgets, budget forecasts. Maybe you have detailed questions on maybe an IFA or how it would work, or maybe detailed tax questions. We do have head office support staff to support on those cases as well. Next thing you'll see on our Lifeline group. Our Lifeline group, these would be the individuals that help with our special quotes. So special quotes would be any cases that may be over $20 million in face amount. You cannot run those on the software. So we would go to our Lifeline group to help prepare that. Another area where maybe Lifeline would help as well, as I mentioned on our last call, is that we do offer a joint last to die term contract. So that's something that maybe is not always popular, but it's great for people that maybe want to look at joint last to die planning in the future. So they may want to look at a joint last to die term contract because it's relatively less expensive than individual term contracts. And you do have the option to convert that within the first 5 years of being in force. So that would be a special quote that would be ordered through Lifeline, and you can do that through your regional sales manager as well. And last but another scenario that Lifeline would certainly help with as well would be we have the ability to add PAR contracts, and maybe you have clients that maybe want to shelter more cash, but they may not want to buy as much permanent insurance. So we can add a term rider to offer the ability to put an extra ADO or additional deposit room into the contract. So that's another example of where Lifeline can be useful and supportive for you and your business. And then in the bottom, you'll see sales enablement and marketing. Those would be the teams that sort of help create, corporate estate transfer articles, brochures that business owners and professionals may want to read of why they may want to consider permanent insurance, why they may want to look at corporate insurance, how does the CDA or the capital dividend account work? That would be the teams that help with that. And then you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner there would be the policy change team. So the policy change team is sort of a necessary part of the program, sort of after a contract has been sold. As many of you have been around a while, you have a lot of questions from clients. Maybe they want to look at an RPU or reduced paid up. Maybe they want to look at a premium offset. They want to stop paying premiums. Maybe they want a premium holiday because maybe business is tough this year. So our policy change department, which would be leading edge, they would help us with all of those options. And then if I look at the next slide, if we look at our medical consultant, our advanced underwriting team, and our premier underwriting team, some of the areas that I think may be unique or different from maybe some of our competitors as well would be the premier underwriting group. This would be a group of 12 plus underwriters ranging in, I guess they would have experience ranging from 10 to 20 plus years of experience. And they would underwrite cases of generally $10 million of face amount or $25,000 of annual premium. So that would be sort of their wheelhouse. They would have a level of expertise that they've been doing this for a very long time. They do have relationships with our reinsurance partners, and they are very open to speak directly with advisors and maybe call you if there's a situation that maybe requires a quick phone call rather than email going back and forth. They will call and have a discussion with you to maybe clarify a piece of information that could just be solved quickly over a phone call. And then the next step above that would be the advanced underwriting team. So this is an uber large case team. This would right now consist of 5 underwriters, and they would start at $25 million of face amount or $500,000 in annual premium. These would generally be underwriters that would have 20 plus years of experience. So they would be very experienced in the large case market. They would be very experienced in financial underwriting. They would have direct lines with the financial underwriting team, so they can have direct contact as well, bring you in as the advisor if needed. In addition to that I think would be sort of important as well is that they would have very good relationships with our reinsurance partners. Anything in the $25 million and above face amount or $500,000 and above face amount generally always will require reinsurance. So it's very important to have an open dialogue with these reinsurance partners to make sure that they're comfortable with the risk and they understand the risk. And they also would have the credibility and experience of dealing with reinsurance. So that is certainly a nice feature to have. And then our medical consultants. This is, my good buddy, Dr. Bruce Amperham. Any of you that have been around a while, Dr. Bruce, he was formerly our medical director for all of Great West Lifeco. He's sort of he's moved into a medical consultant role. And this is the guy, if you're out there working in the large case market, this is probably the most respected guy in the industry when it comes to medical underwriting. He is a physician. He's got 30 plus years in the business, and he's also a fantastic guy, and clients and advisors love him. So this is something that I think would be somewhat a unique spot or a unique value add that we would be able to offer for large cases within the Canada Life market. Historically, he's the rule of thumb is supposed to be cases 100,000 and above, but if you're an advisor and you're working on a large case and you feel that Dr. Bruce would sort of help you get there, this is something that I think we can make an exception on and help you if it's going to help you grow your business and grow business with Canada Life. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of this resource. And you may be curious as to what can Dr. Bruce do for you and your clients that may be different from other carriers. The great thing about Dr. Bruce would be that he will talk directly with you, the advisor, or directly with you, the client, to discuss a client's maybe particular medical background. And I'm going to talk about a little bit more of that shortly, but it's a really great feature. And he's talked to clients in many cases that I've had in the past to really move a case forward on a medical basis. He doesn't really talk about, why they would buy insurance or face amount. He's all about just medical underwriting alone. And he would have the ability to call our chief underwriter, call our reinsurance partners, and he would, in most cases, based on a conversation with you and or the client, based on the client's medical history, in a lot of cases, he'll be able to tell you if they're insurable right away. And that really is a valuable option and a value add that we would offer to you, our clients within IDC. And then last but not least, as far as the regional wholesaling goes, we do have a really extensive group of wholesaling support that we offer within your region. So, if we look at the regional sales managers, that would be my role. I would be the direct contact that you would have for any questions you may have. If you're looking at maybe an opportunity, you would sort of talk to your regional sales manager, and then they would move that forward to the next level of where it should go, whether it's talking to Dr. Bruce or other specialists that we have within the company. And then in addition to that, we would have advanced case consultants. So what they do is that they work with the regional sales manager, people like myself and the advisor. They get a better understanding as to what the advisor is hoping to accomplish in addition to the client, and they will help prepare the sales strategies and the proposals and the solutions on your behalf. We know you as advisors, like you guys are busy, you're talking to clients, you're trying to grow your practice. Trying to figure out the solutions maybe is not always necessary when we have people that do it all day long, and that's all they do for years, and in many cases, decades. So we do have a lot of expertise in the life insurance market to help you with solutions. An example of where, one that I worked on this week would be an accountant wanted to know what permanent plan had the best CDA or capital dividend account credit. So, that's something that maybe you don't have time or, you don't want to try to figure all that out. If you send it to us, being your regional sales manager, we will send it over to our advanced case consultants. They will do all that work for you. We will set up a face-to-face meeting or a Teams call to walk through that with you to make sure you're very clear and comfortable on the different solutions and why we chose those. The next one in the wheel would be our advanced planning strategists. This would be the same role as the advanced case consultant, just on the living benefits front. So maybe you have a client that you're looking at split dollar for CI. So, maybe it's not something that you have a lot of experience in, or you may need help preparing and packaging the proposal. That's something that they can help with. Another scenario on the DI side would be wage loss plans. Those are quite common, and we have a really neat tool to position that and show why clients may want to look at that and what the tax savings would be. So that's kind of a neat feature that we can offer as well on the living benefits front. Next, you look at the wealth and tax planning consultants. These are also available throughout the region across the country. This is sort of, again, somewhat unique to Canada Life. I know some other carriers no longer have this option. I am aware that IDC does offer this feature, but if there's a need or a desire for that resource, we do have that available for you. Whether it's maybe just a question on where do I park this policy? What about this corporate structure? You may have just general tax questions. We do have that resource available for you should that be needed. Regional sales associates, also a really nice feature to offer for you. Maybe you're out en route to meet a client, you're doing a conversion, you have no idea what the forms are. All these forms change so frequently, and the last thing you want to do is send it in and you're missing a form. We do have regional sales associates that will back us up, the regional sales managers. So you can just send us an email, John, I need some of the forms for a conversion. It's a corporate part case. We will send all of that via email to you to make sure that you have all the right information. And then last but certainly not least is our regional sales representatives. So they're also known as our inside sales team. So if you don't do business with Canada Life, hopefully you've already gotten a call from them, or you will get a call from them, because these are individuals that are out. We want to sort of grow our relationship with IDC. And, we understand you have a lot of choice out there, but we do have a lot of resources, and we do spend a lot of time making sure that we make your life easy and make sure that your client, we can, spend more time working with you and your clients to grow your basic clients. So to join the program, the great thing is that some of the other carriers, as I mentioned, that you have to qualify to join the program. So the great thing is with our program, you don't have to join. All you have to do is submit a case. So one opportunity, you have no history with Canada Life at all. So whether you're a brand new advisor that wants to work in the large case market, we're going to give you all the resources that you need. We want to earn your business. So that's a differentiating factor. And maybe, maybe you're dealing with another carrier and you're already in the elite program and you want to sort of see what we can offer you. So maybe it's a great chance to kick the tires. You're going to stay in that program with another supplier, and let's just maybe see what we can offer you. And I think you will be impressed at the service that we have available to help you grow your large case business.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions, Oleana?
No, we're good to keep moving along.
Okay, great. So now I want to talk a little bit about a scenario on a scenario that I think would give you a good context as to what we can do, how we position certain cases with clients. And this was actually an IDC advisor. So I thought this would be relevant that I worked on in 2023. So it's current and it is an IDC advisor. So in this case, it was a physician. Dr. Smith is not his real name, but I thought we would go with Dr. Smith. In this particular example, so Dr. Smith, he was single, formerly married, but he does have a professional corp. He was a specialist, and he was getting to the point in his career where he was saving significant assets inside his professional corp. He does have some children, so there was an interest in maybe leaving some proceeds in the future, or maybe proper tax planning to look at leaving some assets to his kids. And he was looking for alternatives, ideas. This would be a conservative individual. He buys historically a GIC type investor, and he was looking for ideas because he's tired of paying significant tax. So if we look at some of his goals, he, like everybody wants to have some growth, but he didn't really want a lot of the risk that goes with it. He wants to keep going up, but not really see a 15% drop. He does like the idea of tax preferential treatment. He's looking for ideas. He's looking to you as the advisor to find solutions or ideas that may be ways to mitigate his tax bill. He likes the idea of simple. He's looking for, should anything happen to me, how can I get some of my assets in my professional corp out in a manner that's tax efficient and not overly complicated. And he likes the idea for liquidity. He likes the idea of, if I need the money, if a rainy day comes, I do want the idea that I will be able to access that at some point. So the advisor had a meeting with the client, and we want to discuss some possible options. In most cases, when you're talking to clients, you see that your standard professional or business owner, they have their fixed income investments. Sometimes in their corp, they would have some mutual funds or equity investments. Generally, they also have their businesses in real estate. And then sort of another egg that we put in the basket, as you're probably aware of, would be participating in life insurance. So it's a great way to do it simply because it makes sense. It's a way to diversify your assets. And rather than having all your money in a taxable environment, we can take some money and put it in a sheltered environment. So positioning savings versus the insurance. The big thing that I hear all the time with business owners is that they put their head down, they focus on growing their business, and then they look to you, the advisor, to say, come up, I want some ideas that are different. I can save money in my corp. I can get a pretty good return on the stuff, on my money inside my company, 12, 15%. I hear it all the time. So if you're buying a GIC or if you're buying stuff inside your company, you're getting hit with pretty high tax. So we have to look at some ideas of how to mitigate that. So one thing that we look at is we have a great way to position this, and this is a great way to show clients on a visual perspective the tax grind. So in this example, Dr. Smith is 50 years old. So if you look out at age 85, which is 35 years from now, if he puts $1 million in, if we look at a 5% GIC in his corp, the value without tax is going to grow to 4.4 million. But unfortunately, the reality is that he's got to pay tax. So he's going to be losing a significant amount of that money every year. And the neat thing about the tax grinder, this sales strategy, it gives you a very simple and easy way for you to show clients and give them a visual as to how much of their money they're going to lose to tax. So this is a great way to start the conversation. So then from that, the client realizes, okay, I like this. I hate the idea of paying tax. Can you show me some ideas and some solutions? I'm interested. So what we did is from that point, we look at some participating life insurance because it's going to meet growth. It's going to be tax preferentially. It's going to be simple, and there's going to be liquidity there. One concern, though, in this particular situation was his insurability. In this particular example, he actually did have some medical concerns that caused us to maybe have an issue that this may not be a good fit for him because of his insurability. So who do we call? We call our buddy, Dr. Bruce. The advisor in this particular case just assumed that this client, because he had a recent surgery, he was not insurable. Fair enough. And a lot of people make that assumption, but you never want to assume anything. So, I had the conversation with the advisor. I called Dr. Bruce, explained a little bit about the situation. Dr. Bruce said, let's have a chat with this guy. So, we thought the best way to go in this example, and the client being a physician, was very open just to talk physician to physician. So we had Dr. Bruce call this client at a time that was mutually amicable for their schedules. And, because of the size, it sort of met Dr. Bruce's number, and again, I don't want to sort of stick to that size, but in this case, it did meet that. But if you do have a scenario, we're happy to work with you to make sure that that works. But after the discussion, Dr. Bruce had talked to the client. Because of his extensive experience, he kind of knew that based on his medical history, he would be insurable. But because he wanted to be sure and we wanted to make sure we're going down the right path, he called the chief underwriter. The chief underwriter called the reinsurer. We're able to circle back to the client with a pretty accurate assessment of 200%. So he is insurable, which mitigates that concern. He is getting this information from our medical director, or sort of medical consultant, formerly our medical director, and then. From there, the great thing is we also have a program called Astra. So all you have to remember, it's a rating reduction program. So we have a really neat brochure. If you want to sort of look at this, we can send it to you after the fact. It kind of shows you how the Astra program works for all of our permanent insurance products. So it doesn't apply to term, but it does apply on conversion to any permanent plan. And really is a spot that we do win a lot of business in this area. The reason why is because, as you know, a lot of the wealthy individuals that you work with generally are older and they have some medical issues. So, you will have ratings and you will have issues. And sometimes those ratings can be problematic. So whether it's a single life contract or a joint life contract, the Astra program can really come in handy when you're working in the large case market. So if you do want that brochure, we're happy to send it to you. It is a scale. So the higher the rating, the bigger the drop. So, 200% will drop 2 tables to 150, but a 300% rating would drop to 200%. And a 500% rating would drop to 300%. So we will send you that brochure if you want to see it. So from there, we're developing a solution. So Dr. Smith, he's pretty happy talking to Dr. Bruce. He's now comfortable that, Canada Life seems like a very knowledgeable company. They're very interested in my business. They understand my medical background, and they understand, what my needs are and what I'm trying to accomplish. So, he's open, he's saving a fair bit of money. He was saving about $400,000 a year. We looked at transitioning about a quarter of that, $100,000 annually for the next 10 years into an insurance product. But he is, he's very focused on his estate, but he is also very concerned, like a lot of individuals, what if the rainy day comes? So what we did, we looked at a corporate plan comparison. So step one in positioning this example with the client, we did a corporate plan comparison, which again, our advanced team can kind of prepare all of that for you, or, speaking to your RSM, we'll take care of all of it. And then we will position it with you, the advisor, and then we can kind of tweak it before we show it to the client. So in this particular example, we looked at our wealth and estate achiever products. So the wealth is an early cash value product. We looked at a 20 pay and a pay to 100 product. And then we looked at our estate achiever product, which is our late cash value product, a 20 pay and a pay to 100 product. The difference is that with those products, we did a $100,000 premium for 10 years. So we were putting these contracts on premium offset. And the nice thing about the premium offset is that should the client want to stop, they can stop. But if they don't want to stop, they don't have to stop. Because in many cases that we've seen is that if you put them into a 10-pay, contractual 10-pay contract, they have to stop paying. And in many cases, some of these individuals, they will learn to love these power contracts because they continue to go up in value every year. They don't go negative. They keep going up. So in some cases, many of these clients are going to have more money now, in 10 years than they do now. So we don't want to sort of limit them to that 10-year window only. But in this case, we funded it for 10 years and we did max ADO or additional deposit option. So we put the most money we can, and then we offset at year 11. We also assumed that the client was rated at 200% based on our conversation with Dr. Bruce had through our chief underwriter, excuse me. And then under the Astra program, that did reduce to 150. So then the next thing that we looked at would be, that's fine. So we ran the numbers, $100,000 or $1 million over 10 years. And then we looked at what do the cash values look like at age 70. So this is in year 20. So the client was 50 when he bought the contract. If we look out to at age 70, what do these cash values look like? So on the first chart, you'll see the estate achiever pay to 100. It works out just on the cash value, assuming we offset in 10 years. These are all offset after 10 years. The return on just his cash in 20 years works out to 1.85% per year over the years over until year 20. The wealth achiever pay to 100 offset in 10 years worked out to a pretty attractive 2.38% return just on your cash. And then the estate 20, 0.63 offset after 10 years, and the wealth achiever 20, 1.68 after 20 years. So this is just an example to show, while there's no wrong answer is what the client chooses. I think it's important to show the client different options, and then you're sort of more looking at a scenario where not do you want to buy insurance? What's the best plan for you? And that I find that works very well when positioning large contracts with clients. So that just sort of gives you a quick example of the cash value comparison. And then if we look going forward at the death benefit payout, so this would be the second option that you would show the client after the cash. So in this case, we assumed at age 85. So the client bought at age 50, so 35 years out. We would show, you'll see the estate achiever had an IRR or internal rate of return of 3.68. The wealth achiever, which had an IRR of 3.18, and an estate achiever at 3.89, which is the highest IRR of the four options, and the wealth achiever came in at 3.29. So just to go back again, just to remember now, so the wealth achiever 100 had the lowest return on death benefit on an IRR. Sorry, Oleana, is there a question?
There is actually. So the question was about offsetting, and does the offset need to happen right at the beginning of a policy going into force, or can that be done at later years when the dividend is paying enough to offset the cost?
Yes. So as far as the premium offset goes, in this example, I offset in 10 years. We actually pad it in such a way that we make sure that there's ample room at -1, in many cases, -2 dividend scale. Right now, our dividend scale is at 5.25. And in this example, I believe at -2, I could also, so 3.25, we could offset after 10 years. The nice thing is that if you want to stop, you can, but you don't have to. So it's an option that the client can make at year 10, or anytime before that, or anytime after that. And we make sure we built it in such a way that there's no problem to do that.
Great, thank you. Hopefully that answered Zara's question.
Yeah. So again, so just go back to the death benefit output. You'll see that the lowest as far as IRR goes would be the Wealth Achiever 100 at 3.18%. They're all doing quite well as far as returns go, but you'll see on the previous slide, if I go back to the cash value, you'll see that the best cash value or IRR on the cash is the Wealth Achiever 100. So while there's no wrong answer, it's important to show the clients the differences and see what they like most. So in this case, best cash, but it had the lowest IRR on death benefit. So we showed the clients all of these different 4 examples, and then he looked at the different options, and he really liked the idea of potential for, he liked liquidity. If a rainy day comes, he's happy. He likes the idea of having access to his cash and the earliest break even on his cash. And the Wealth Achiever 100 met those needs. In no time, I think it was 5 or 6 years, he's breaking even on his cash value. So that was what really was a buzzword for him, and that's what he liked. So then now we focus in on the Wealth Achiever Pay to 100. So once we determined in his case that he really liked the Wealth Achiever Pay to 100, then we sort of nailed down into the next level of how does this stand up against an alternative investment inside my corp. So I use a corporate estate transfer strategy to show him that. So in this example, now I'm using the Canada Life Wealth Achiever Max ADO. Again, $100,000 for 10 years, and then we stop paying premiums. I compare that to $100,000 a year for 10 years against a 5%. So, and this would be an interest-bearing investment. So we'll call it a 5% GIC. So this gives him a quick one-page snapshot as to where his 5% GIC stacks up to his Canada Life Par Wealth Achiever Pay to 100 offset in 10 years. And if you look out at year 30, which would make him 80, you'll see that the net benefit to the shareholder using a portion of his excess cash in his corp is twice as attractive as his 5% GIC. So again, we're going to take a portion of his excess cash in his corp and move it over to this other asset class and compare it to his GIC. So this gives him a quick visual as to why I may want to consider this as an alternative to a portion of my excess cash in my corp. Again, this is also, gives them a visual example as to money that will be lost to taxes over the 35 years or age 85. Again, this can be shown, but this is, part of our illustration, which is included in the scenario, but it's sort of repetitive over the last slide, but it does give the client a good visual just to show the difference between the value after tax on my GIC and my net estate benefit using my insurance. This is my favorite slide. So when I find this is the most powerful piece when showing corporate insurance to clients. So in this example, so if I look at age 85, so I'm a 50-year-old at age 85, it works out to my life insurance. If I pass away at age 85, it works out to an IRR inside of my corp of 3.18%. Not bad, but not amazing. It's not like making me sign the piece of paper right away. But what's really important, though, and the really neat thing about the sales strategies that we use, it takes into account the CDA, or the capital dividend account credit. So in this case, what would I need on an interest-bearing investment to equal my insurance at age 85? So this gives you an example. This is a single life rated individual. So if I had a joint last two standard individuals, my interest-bearing investment is going to be even higher. But I think it's important to use, real life example. And in this case, I've got a 50-year-old. I was rated 200%, 150 post-Astra. To equal my insurance at age 85, I would need an 8.71% GIC every year to age 85 to equal my insurance. So this is a very powerful slide. And you know what? Maybe I'm not going to buy an interest-bearing investment. But what about a dividend-bearing investment? So you would need a 6.16% dividend-bearing investment to equal the insurance, and a capital gain of 5.25. So I find that this one piece really hits home with clients, just to show what they would need to equal the insurance. And again, on a joint last, it would be even better. You'd be looking at 12% returns on the interest-bearing investment. Question there, Oleana?
There is. Let me just pop it up. So the question is, if you happen to have a comparison whereby you're investing $1 million into equities versus a 5% GIC.
Absolutely. So we can actually tailor that, no problem at all. Capital gains would sort of fall into that comparison, which would show the equity component. And we can actually tailor that as well. If you want a sort of a detailed description of X amount in dividend, X amount in capital gains, and some in realized gains, we can break that down. The only thing that I would say to that is that because participating in whole life insurance is 70% fixed income, you're not really comparing apples to apples, but we can absolutely do that for you, and it will look attractive as well. But it really hits home when you're taking a portion of a client's fixed income portion in their corporate portfolio and redistributing that over to the par, because it's 70% fixed income. It would be more comparable to the interest-bearing investment, but we can absolutely do that should you or your client want that, no problem.
Great. And we had another question. It actually falls back to the previous case for Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
Given that he was rated so high, can he realistically obtain ADO?
So yes, great question. And absolutely you can, as long as we can do it in the software, it's sort of foolproof. So yes, you can do that. No problem.
Perfect.
No limitations there at all.
Hopefully that answers everyone's questions thus far.
Okay. So moving on, you know what? Can't blame him. His next question was, you know what, John, I like it. This all sounds pretty good. I'm okay with looking at this opportunity, but what if I want to access cash? And you know what? Everybody wants to know that. And it's a very fair question. So the great thing is that we do have some great material for that. So if a client wants to access cash, as most of you probably are aware, but I am going to sort of summarize it for you, there's basically three options. And, sometimes people get caught up in sort of making this a very confusing conversation, but there's basically three options. You can basically just take the cash out of the contract, pay your tax, and dividend the money out, or take the money out of your corp. You can get a policy loan. So you go to Canada Life, you call us and you say you want to have $25,000. We issue a check and you get a policy loan. That there is interest rate though to get the policy loan, and it does vary. Right now, I think it's either 7.2 or 7.4% is our policy loan. So while it's easy and simple, it's a rate that maybe some people may find a little higher. So that would be the second thing. And a third thing would be, a collateral loan. So that's basically going to a bank or a financial institution and assigning your contract to the bank, and basically getting a line of credit to access funds. So you don't actually have to take any money out. You basically have the ability to go that route. So this gives you a little example of how that works and sort of the pros and cons of that. And this will be available to you after if you want to have access to this slide as well. This does give you a pretty nice short summary for that. This gives you a visual representation should the client want to go to a collateral loan route. This does look a little confusing, but it's not when you sort of see it. It does sort of summarize it kind of nice, but I just thought it would be important to show you guys that we do have a piece that outlines a collateral loan, how it works, and why you may want to look at it. So just, I think some of you may be aware of this, but collateral loan, there is some risk with collateral loans. There is longevity risk. So when we do a collateral loan, I always show hit 90% of loan value at age 99. That's sort of a common one that we do. But if there's longevity risk, if somebody lives to 110, or if you're showing, max value at age 90 and they live longer, there could be risk there. The other one is interest rate risk. I mean, who would have thought that interest rates are going to move 4 points in a very short period of time, but it does happen. So, I think it's important to be aware of the collateral loan considerations, just as an FYI. And the other thing that I would say regarding accessing some of the cash inside these contracts, what I generally say to clients that this is generally one of the last things you would touch. This is like an RSP that you'd never have to touch. It will grow tax deferred. It's not like an RSP where you have to take money out. So it will just keep growing and growing and growing in a tax deferred environment. And if you need it, you can go get it in a variety of different ways. But it's usually the last thing you would touch because it doesn't have to be touched. And then you can pay out in a very tax efficient manner if it's in a corporate environment or a personal environment. We also have a neat way to illustrate, should you want to show a corporate asset efficiency or a corporate collateral loan, we can kind of show you, assuming that the client wants to take, in this case, we'll go back to Dr. Smith. He's 50. At age 70, he wants to take some money out for 15 years. In this example, we assumed a 6% loan rate and we took out the maximum versus taking the maximum out of my GIC. This kind of gives you an example of what your net death benefit is going to be, and the net benefit to the shareholders' estate kind of shows, we would be significantly higher doing the collateral loan. Should they want to do that, we can illustrate that for you or the client, should that be of interest. And we also, similar to the previous one, if they do want to access cash, we can also show you what your GIC or interest-bearing equivalent, your dividend rate equivalent, or your capital gain equivalent would be as well, if you want to take income as well. So similar thing as last time, just this is with accessing cash. A couple of things that if you're not aware of, and I think that these are really handy pieces that I find clients love, is that we have accessing cash value from your corporation's policy. It's a really simple, easy laid out brochure that just shows you the three options, and clients really like it because it's very simple. Everybody likes easy layout, simple layout, and it's not terribly confusing. So this is a brochure. If you do have conversations with your clients or they want to know more about how to access cash of these contracts, this brochure is the one for you in a corporate environment. It's really handy to have. So we can send that to you if you do have any questions or if you want that. And then we also, in the previous wheel that I showed, we also have our tax and estate planning group. So these are head office tax professionals that create a lot of tax material that for accountants, for your engineer clients that are really detailed and they want a lot of information. We do have a lot of information available to share with you. If you need any material, we have lots of material for you on that front. And so in summary, I just want to sort of recap that, this Canada Life Elevate, we're launching it officially today. So you will see distribution emails on this. We are very interested in helping you take your business to the next level. If you're not in the large case market or you want to be in the large case market, we are more than happy to help you. We have the expertise in a wide variety of capacities, whether it's tax expertise, medical expertise, underwriting expertise, or just field and product expertise. We have it all. So, we really hope that you'll look to Canada Life in the future as a place for your business. The Astra program, as I mentioned, is a pretty nice feature for any large permanent insurance products. It's a pretty good place to be, and it can really help you, when you get into medical ratings and that sort of thing. It can be very attractive. And, hopefully you found the tools valuable. The corporate plan comparison, the corporate estate transfer, they're laid out very well. They're very simple to understand. It's not, 14, 15 page illustrations. It's just, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. What do you think of this? And then if once we moved into the corporate estate, it sort of compares to alternative investments inside your corp. So it's an easy, client-friendly way. And we've had a lot of success with it across the country. So hopefully that's something that you may want to look at or consider with Canada Life going forward. So that concludes my end. Would there be any questions, Eliana, going forward?
If you wouldn't mind maybe just repeating for the group today exactly what you define as a large case, whether it's premium or face amount.
Sure. So So I apologize. So the information that will come out will be more detailed, but sort of to follow into the large case market, it starts at $10 million or face amount or $25,000 annual premium. Then there's a new tier at $100,000 annual premium, and then there's another or 25 at $100,000 annual premium, and then we have a $25 million face amount or $500,000 annual premium. So to answer your question, you get all the services starting at $25,000 annual premium and above, and certainly below that, we are more than happy to help as well. We do have lots of resources in the field wheel that I showed you, and we're ready, willing, and able to help any of you whenever you need.
That's fantastic. And I think it's key for the advisors today to understand too that you don't have to be a big, large case writer, that if you have some of these one-off or just, a handful a year, that, Canada Life should be front and center and considered. You don't need to have any kind of special membership or qualifying criteria to enter.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that, we put a lot of thought into this program to make sure that we're reaching all the advisors, and we want to make sure that, everyone sort of has to start somewhere. And there's a lot of advisors out there that have the right client, but they're maybe not quite sure where to start. So we are more than happy to help with anything that you may need, regardless of your background or how much experience you have in the large case market. We have the expertise to help for sure.
That's fantastic. And I also just wanted to repeat again that this presentation was quite excellent. And I think a lot of you will like using it as a resource. So we will ensure that this webinar has been recorded and will be available on the IDC website. And we'll ensure that a PDF copy of the presentation is also available to you. Are there any other questions before we try and wrap it up? There was Jonathan, another question, just kind of going back to rated cases. On rated cases, are paid up additions also rated?
Great question. And yes, those are rated. That would be a fair comment. I think, though, you will find that some of the carriers do not rate the paid up additions, but you will notice if you compare the different products throughout the different carriers, our cost of insurance costs are very competitive. That I think would put us in line with a lot of scenarios that would be in many cases equal. So we are very competitive on that front. And maybe just to add to that, I know there were some questions on the dividend scale. The dividend scale has been a pretty hot topic across the country. Just so you guys know, is that Canada Life has yet to announce our dividend scale. We do announce that in May, and it will be effective in July. So we are very excited to put that out to you, and that will be coming fairly soon. So stay tuned.
That's great. And for those of you also wondering how to get in touch with your respective Canada Life representative, your wholesaler, you are welcome to find that information on the IDC website, or you can also reach out to your local business development executive who is well acquainted with the Canada Life team and can direct you in to the appropriate individual.
All right, guys. Well, you know what? Hopefully we hear from you. We're really looking forward to working together, and we'd love to earn your business.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you for spending the last, say, 45, 50 minutes with us. We really appreciate it. Hopefully this will be a strong start to everyone's year. We're, entering month 2 of the year. So hopefully, as you start seeing your clients and as you start seeing new cases pop up, that you can give Canada Life a shot at those cases, and that you do reach out to your local wholesaling team to assist you on any casework. And IDC as well is always here to support you in any of those endeavors. So thank you again, Jonathan, for your time, and thank you to all our participants for joining us today, and hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Oleana. Have a good day.
Take care.